Hello students, this is Shati Tanan. Welcome back to my channel Track Chemistry. Today I am here with the class 8 topic. The name of the topic is Chemical Effects of Electric Current Part 3. For Part 1 and Part 2 of this chapter, please check the I button. Students, before starting, I just want to remind you to subscribe my channel for getting information about further important uploads. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. So now let's see what we are going to study today. So today we will study about electroplating, process of electroplating, electroplating of copper, applications, and some questions based on the topic discussed. And the topics: conductors and insulators, conductivities of water and other liquids, chemical effects of electric current, changes occur during the passage of electric current through a solution, electrolysis of common salt solution, and an electric pen have been discussed in part 1 and part 2 of this chapter. So now let's see, what is electroplating? Students, electroplating is the process of depositing a layer of any desired metal on any other metal by means of electric current. So, in the process of electroplating, we can deposit any other desired metal on the surface of metal by means of electric current. The metal to be deposited on an article is usually made the anode. For example, you want to deposit copper metal on any other article, so that copper plate you have to make as anode, and the article to be plated is made the cathode in the process of electroplating. So what is cathode? Cathode is the negative electrode. Cathode is connected to negative terminal of the battery. So cathode is the negative electrode. And what is anode? Anode is the positive electrode. Positive electrode means it is connected to positive terminal of the battery. Then this process is carried out in a tank, and this tank is called as electroplating bath. And electroplating bath consists of electrolyte. So now we will discuss the process of electroplating in detail. Following are the important steps of electroplating. As I discussed earlier, the article which is to be electroplated is made the electrode that is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So the negative terminal of the battery is called as cathode. Suppose you want to electroplate a spoon with copper. So you have to connect that spoon to negative terminal of the battery. Means you have to make that spoon as cathode. And the metal which is used for coating is made the electrode that is connected to positive terminal of the battery. So the electrode which is connected to positive terminal of the battery is called as anode, and the electrode which is connected to negative terminal of the battery is called as cathode. Then third point is that the solution of a soluble salt of the metal to be deposited is used as the electrolyte. So suppose you are going to deposit copper on a spoon. So you will take electrolyte which consists of copper. You will take the soluble salt of the copper, like copper sulfate you can take. So now I am going to discuss the process of electroplating of copper with the help of this diagram. So children, you can see here we are going to deposit copper on a metallic spoon. So this metallic spoon is made as cathode. Cathode means, I discussed with you, it is connected to negative terminal of the battery. Then you are going to deposit copper, so copper plate is connected to positive terminal of the battery, means you are making a copper plate as anode. Now as you are going to deposit copper, your electrolyte must also consist of soluble salt of copper. So for this purpose, we have taken copper sulfate solution. So this is CuSO4 solution, and this copper sulfate solution acts as electrolyte. So your electrolyte is copper sulfate solution. So now what we will do, on passing electric current, copper sulfate solution will dissociate into copper ion and sulfate ion. Copper sulfate will dissociate. So in the solution you will have two type of ions. Copper ion is Cu2 plus and sulfate ions is SO4 2 minus. So once electric current is passed, what will happen? These copper ions will migrate towards the negative electrode. So negative electrode, you already know that it is cathode. So they will move on cathode, they will move towards cathode, they will take two electrons and will convert into metallic copper. So you can see that on the spoon, the metallic copper will be deposited. Then, so you have seen that copper ion from the solution is getting deposited on the metal spoon. Now, there is a loss of copper ion in the solution. So how that loss of copper ion is maintained? So at the same time, the equivalent amount of copper ion from the copper plate will pass into the solution. So you can see here, copper ion from the solution is getting deposited at cathode, but at the same time, equivalent amount of copper from copper plate in the form of copper ion is dissolved in the solution. So this is the process of electroplating, and there is no role of sulfate ion in the process of electroplating. Sulfate ions don't take part in the process of electroplating. So I hope this point is clear to you. The same points I have explained you. The object to be electroplated is made the electrode that is connected to negative terminal of the battery. I already discussed with you the electrode which is connected to negative terminal of the battery is called as cathode. In the example we have discussed, we have taken a spoon. Then copper rod is made the electrode that is connected to positive terminal of the battery, means it is made as anode. All these points I have explained you in detail, and the copper sulfate solution is taken as an electrolyte. So I hope these points are clear to you. What will happen at the electrode which is connected to negative terminal of the battery? The electrode which is connected to negative terminal of the battery is called as cathode. So at cathode, the free copper ions which are positively charged. So copper ions are positively charged. The formula is Cu2 positive charges. They move towards the electrode which is connected to negative terminal of the battery. So we can write here the positive copper ions, they move towards cathode. Here they gain electrons and they get deposited as copper metals. So what is happening here? I would like to write in the form of chemical equation. Copper ion Cu2 plus. So as they have two positive charges, they will take two electrons and they will be neutralized, will convert into copper. So at the end you can see that there is deposition of copper on the spoon. So this is the process taking place at a cathode. Now what will happen at anode? Anode, the copper metal loses electrons and changes into copper ions that go into the solution. So I'm writing the reaction which is taking place at anode. As I told that copper metal loses electrons. So metal will lose two electrons. By losing two electrons, it will convert into copper ion. So what will happen? From a copper plate, copper ion pass into the solution by loss of two electrons. So as I discussed with you, the sulfate ions don't take part in this reaction. Now you can see that there's a loss of copper ions from the solution. How it is compensated? It is compensated from the other electrode. So an equal amount of copper from anode get dissolved in the solution. So thus the loss of copper from solution is restored and the process continues. So we can say that copper gets transferred from one electrode, from anode, to the other electrode, which is cathode. So there is a transfer of copper from anode to cathode. So I hope these points are clear to you. And the electrode which is connected to positive terminal of the battery keeps dissolving slowly into the electrolyte as long as it lasts. So children, what will happen? At the end of the process of electroplating, you will see that the anode, which was positive terminal of the battery, will become thinner and thinner as the process completes. I hope all these points are clear to you. Now I'm going to discuss electroplating with you. So children, electroplating is one of the most common uses of electrolysis. So basically electroplating is electrolysis. I discussed these points in my previous videos. So electroplating is widely used in industries for coating metal objects with thin layers of different metals. For example, one example I would like to mention here, for making gold-plated jewelry, you take a cheaper metal. On that cheaper metal you will deposit a layer of gold on it. Silver-plated jewelry, a layer of silver will be deposited on some other cheaper metals. The layer of metal deposited has some desired property which the metal object lacks. For example, all of you know that chromium plating is done on many objects. It is done on car parts, bathtubs, kitchen gas burners, bicycle handlebars, wheel rims, and many others uses you will see of the chromium plating. And what is the appearance of chromium? Chromium has a shiny appearance, and the very important thing is that it doesn't corrode and it resists scratches. You have seen that the kitchen gas burners, they are made up of, there's a chromium plating on it. But the main thing is that chromium is very expensive metal and it may not be economical to make the whole object out of chromium. So what we do? So object is made up of a cheaper metal and only a coating of chromium is deposited over it by the process of electroplating. So you have seen that this is one of the very important application of electroplating, chromium plating we have discussed. Then it is used to make artificial jewelry. I discussed with you about the gold plated jewelry or silver plated jewelry. So jewelry makers electroplate silver and gold on less expensive metals. And these ornaments have the appearance of silver or gold but are much less expensive. So these are some pictures of the gold plated and silver plated jewelry, artificial jewelry. Now, one more important application is that tin cans used for storing food are made by electroplating tin on iron. You know that tin is a less reactive metal than iron. So, if the iron objects, iron cans are coated with tin, what will happen? The food doesn't come in contact with iron and it is protected from getting spoiled. So this was the example of tin coating. We have discussed electroplating of silver and gold on other cheaper metals. Then chromium plating we have discussed. Then this was the example of tin plating. Now, tin plating is used to protect metals from rusting and corrosion. So we can protect metals from rusting and corrosion by electroplating the metal with a thin layer of other metals such as nickel or chromium. A coating of zinc is deposited on iron, which is used in bridges and automobiles to protect it from corrosion and rust, and this process is called as galvanization of iron. Children, this is a very important topic because what happens, you must have heard that the entire bridges collapse. The bridges are made up of iron. So if the proper maintenance is not done, the entire bridges are collapsed and this is a huge loss of economy to the nation. So to protect this, to avoid this, a coating of zinc is deposited on iron which is used in bridges. And the coating of zinc on iron is called as galvanization of iron. So these are some examples of chromium plating you can see in these pictures. Children, now we will discuss few questions based on the topic discussed. First question is that what effect is produced when electric current is pass through a conducting solution. So chemical effect is produced. We have seen one example of copper plating. So we have seen there that a chemical effect is produced, a chemical change is taking place when electric current is passed through a conducting solution. Then second question is that to which terminal of battery a larger lead of a LED is connected. So children, in my previous videos I have discussed with you a larger lead of a LED is connected to positive terminal of battery. So it is connected to positive terminal of battery. So children, I hope all these points are clear to you. So now we will see what are the topics we have discussed. All these topics we have discussed in the part 1 and part 2 of this chapter. Please refer these videos. And the topics which we have discussed today were electroplating, process of electroplating, electroplating of copper, applications and few questions. So students, I hope all these points are clear to you. In case if you have any doubt, please post your doubts in the comment box. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. Have a nice day. Don't forget to watch my next video. Thank you so much.